So you don't charm the devil with your rock and roll load. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The devil finds his groove in them rhythm and blues. That sound it's gonna get you son in the end.
Welcome back to The Speakeasy, another special Boomerang edition here live from beautiful, occasionally sunny Savannah, Georgia. I am here with Brittany, who is a bartender at the Speakeasy bar, but apparently goes by Bugsy behind the bar. Do I have that right?
Yes, I go by Bugsy. That's my gangster name while I'm at work.
All right, Malone or Seagal?
Depends on the mood. Definitely depends on the mood.
And today we're
Malone.
Okay, all right, Bugsy. Lovely to meet you, Bugsy Malone.
Lovely to meet you too.
So we're in this beautiful space, which kind of just breathes history, and I hear is haunted. Is that correct?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a super old building, so once you have a lot of history and apparently some exposed bricks, that's apparently the necessary.
I am a sucker for an exposed brick. I
Yeah.
do love an exposed brick.
That's the necessary components to have a good haunting story or two.
That's where ghosts live, is in the brickwork. They're like,
that's what I've heard.
yeah, exactly. They're like yeast cultures. They just hang out there and come out and haunt
They
the
like
shit
a
out of
good
people
view of the river
sometimes.
too.
Exactly. So, I mean, this building you were saying was what, 200, 300 years old?
Yeah, this building, they started building it in the late 1700s and they finished around 1817. The third floor, they actually added on for pirates to sell their more exotic wares back in the day. So, but it's a part of the original cotton exchange warehouses. And right in between River Street and Bay Street, there's actually another side road called Factor's Walk. And that's where they used to set the cotton prices for the entire world.
Really?
Yeah, if you go up on Bay Street, you'll actually see like a bell up there is the exchange, the city exchange bell, and it kind of worked like a stock exchange bell. It's just like ding, like
It's sort of like, yeah, like, okay, trading's in session. Let's go. Who wants to buy a shirt?
Yeah, pretty much. He wants this bale of cotton.
Well, I mean, so I would imagine that in a space that just has this much weight and historical import to it, there's kind of a responsibility you feel almost to kind of it. Like, how does that play into what you're doing here behind the bar and the way that you all approach making your cocktails?
Oh, well, for us, definitely addressing the history is a big part because, of course, that's what, the guests are interested in. But for me, it goes down to like respecting the building and everything that came over, because it's just a part of the story. And that's really kind of what alcohol is all about, is telling the story of humans. Like, if you look back, like, alcohol's been with us every step of the way. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got my first tattoo. I'm not gonna show it to the audience because you got to pay extra for that, as I've said before. But yeah, my first tattoo ever was a barley tattoo, because like when we started turning barley into bread and beer, that's basically when we went from being nomads to starting what we now know as civilization.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't trust the water back in the day.
Exactly, yeah. But you can always trust beer. That's the motto of this podcast. You can always trust beer.
Or wine, or liquor. Whatever you want to distill that day.
Exactly. Speaking of liquor, so I heard that you all had a mission to make the best old fashioned in, was it the city or the world? How high did you set your sights on that?
I'm going to start with the city. We're starting with the city, and I'll take on Paris, next week.
All right, fair. Yeah, we'll wait for the Olympics for that.
Yeah,
one.
yes, definitely. They're kind of fluffy, so I'm gonna let them roll.
First of all, that's a lofty goal, because an old fashioned is one of those beautiful things where like you can make it in 25 seconds in your own apartment if you feel like not have some like one grade down from just drinking straight whiskey that night, or you can spend just like 20 minutes perfecting like everything that goes into it. So how did you even begin that process? How did you even begin to ascertain what the best is and then try and chase that?
Well, first of all, I'm a gangster, so cockiness kind of comes with the
I'm getting that
right?
vibe. Yeah.
Cockiness is going to come with it for a little bit. But yeah, no, for us and everybody that works here is a big bourbon drinker. So for us, it's just showing our love of the bourbon and really accenting it and letting it shine. So I make you old fashioned exactly like I'm going to make it at home. And that does not take 30 seconds for me. I'm a bit more bougie than that.
I guess it really just depends on how thirsty I am, how long it takes me. If I'm going to just kind of like dash a little bit here, a little bit there, stir it with the finger and it's good to go. Or I imagine
definitely adds flavor.
Exactly. I know it's that personal touch, you want to make sure you personally touch every drink.
In the South, they say you got to put your toe in it. That's like one of the sayings.
I honestly can't
really
tell
good.
if you're bullshitting me or
no.
not. Is that a real thing?
I swear, it's a thing. Like if somebody has like really good sweet tea, they're like, "Oh, this is really good today." They're like, "Oh, I put my toe in it," and it's a thing.
That's the secret recipe, apparently. So what do you do for your old fashioned? Do you put your toe in it, or is there other stuff that you
I
do
mean, you're
with
gonna
it
have to
that-
find that out later. Yeah, no,
I guess I am.
I customize it to you based on like the flavor profile that we discussed. So I have different types of wood chips and bitters and stuff. So like, during the summertime, I like to do something more light and airy, of course. So that's like the peach and the spiced cherry bitters. Versus the wintertime, I don't know if you ever tried like a chocolate and cherry old fashioned, but it's definitely a bit harder during the winter. It's nice to have something.
So I'll admit I've tried that with like chocolate and cherry bitters, but I've never thought to do because you're talking cherry wood smoking, right?
Oh yeah, cherry wood smoking and the cherry and you can even do we made like a muddled strawberries. We added that in the other day. So
Into the smoker?
into the old fashioned. We
Oh,
smoked
okay.
it too with I want to say with that we did beech and pear was the wood chips for that one.
So I got to admit, I have always been a little bit of a smoked old fashioned skeptic because I feel like when you're doing something like that, it's very easy to impress so much with style that you don't really have to go substance. But it sounds like you really put a lot of thought into how the woods that you're using are going to pair with the specific ingredients you're using for that specific old fashioned. Am I right about that?
Oh yeah, so my preference is that you want like a harder wood mixed with some sort of like pear, apple, like a fruit wood, and that really gives you like the best flavor profile. Plus, I like to double smoke it because, like you said, part of that is just for show. If you only smoke it at the end, because you have to leave it on there, and the guest doesn't really get the taste because obviously it's a restaurant. We have to keep things moving. But I start the process. I do a double smoke, so I put the ice cube in there, and then start it. So that way, like it'll help pull the oils out of the smoke initially, and it'll coat the inside of the glass and the ice cube to help with the flavor.
So walk me through the process. of
I've got
that.
a double smoke. We double smoke.
Okay, yeah. Talk to me through that.
You grab the ice cube, okay, and then you grab the smoker. So like you put the ice cube in glass, and then you light the smoker up. And while I'm making the rest of the old fashioned, like muddling the sugar cube, and adding the bitters and talking to you about your flavor profile, the whole time the smoke is sitting and coating the inside of this glass and the ice cubes. So that way, whenever you finally pour it in there, like it already has some of the oils in there. So then you relight it, and that's the part that's for show and fun.
Oh, okay. So is it the same wood both times, or do you kind of mix it up? Do you do like the pre-smoked one specific thing, and then you maybe like is
Oh,
it
no,
like a sherry
I do the
cast
same
finish?
mix. I do
Okay,
the same
okay.
mix on both. I don't mix it up that much, but I do like to do a little this and
I'm definitely gonna have to try this later. This actually sounds really cool.
yeah, no, you got to add a little bit of spice, right? Like,
And so talk to me a little bit about how this has been received, because you're right here on the river, like right directly beyond where this camera is the Savannah River. And so obviously you get a lot of foot traffic coming through here. And I'm sure you get a mix of the hardcore nerds, like the people that listen to the show. Love y'all. And the folks that are just kind of coming in and just want to, take a load off, maybe are looking for a beer or something. Like what's your approach to making sure that these things resonate with everyone on that spectrum?
well, I try to make sure that I always like explain the process to the people that come in. So even the people that just want a beer, once they see the whole shebang, they normally are like willing to give it a try.
It's the sizzle. It's the like the
Yeah,
chili
it's like,
sizzle.
add a
Like
little
once
bit of
something
spice.
with a bunch of smoke comes out, everyone's just kind of like, hey, what the hell's that?
That's
Like
a
I want to try
fajita,
that.
my friend.
Exactly. Yes, the fajita phenomenon.
So I really enjoy being this close to the river and having like the variety of people because that's what shows you that you actually have a good product if you can actually please all walks of life. So, the hardcore nerds aside,
That wasn't a dig at hardcore nerds.
yeah,
Lindsay.
I
We
know,
love the
I'm
hardcore
amongst
nerds
you
here.
guys.
Okay, yes.
I'm one of your, I go to Dragon Con.
I was gonna
every
say,
year.
really.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm Aloy. Watch out.
What is Dragon Con? Because I never heard of it before I'd come to Georgia, and it comes up a lot. So, like, tell me a little bit about what that is.
Well, Dragon Con is awesome, just for everybody out there. If you're a
You heard it here
hardcore
first.
nerd, that's where you want to go. So it's essentially East Coast Comic Con, like just south, So in the city of Atlanta, they actually rent out 5 different hotels, and there's so many parties and workshops and stuff. You have to download apps that you can find everything. So yeah, no, I really enjoy it. And then you can have anything from like a Harry Potter party to like the Star Wars parties going on simultaneously. And it's literally like you party till 8 o'clock in the morning, just like the song.
Nerds really are the best people. Like in high school, your parents always tell you, like, don't hang out with like the jocks and the cheerleaders with their insane parties. It's like, no, the nerds are the one that go the hardest.
Oh yeah, they totally do. They totally do. They In fact, I want to say about 9:30, they actually kick all the kids like out of the hotel lobby and stuff because some of the outfits get outrageous.
One thing that's really struck me being here in Savannah is just how much you can feel the fact that like everything here feels like it's at least 150 years old. And does that give you kind of like a sense of responsibility as you're running a place like this that is in such a historic building and has so much like weight behind it? Like, how does that kind of inform what you do behind the bar? Or do you just kind of not think about it? Does it just kind of become part of the background of the place?
I don't know. I definitely think about it because, like, you have to make sure, like I said, that you're respecting the building and the history and the characters that came before you. Because, like, the beams, for example, I don't know that you guys can't see it, but these beams are
They're
old.
really cool. They're like I'm looking at them right now. It's like I've never seen cooler beams in my entire freaking life than this. I'm sorry I'm missing out. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, but so where there's like grabbing like Murphy's oil to make sure that you like treat the wood and checking out the bricks and stuff to make sure everybody's feeling happy over there. To like if I need to let maintenance know like, hey, my buddy over here needs some attention. We actually have an original fireplace up front, which is
What?
great on it. Yeah, up there. Yeah, that's an original fireplace.
Oh, no way. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's really cool because so I really like it whenever like the engineers come to town. There's always conventions. So whenever the engineers come, they always get a kick out of checking out the original brick walls because there's lots of stuff that acts as like joints. So that actually goes like 4 or 5 layers of brick deep, and that's a load bearing wall, and the beam is actually the support. So which actually helps out a lot, in hurricane.
I would imagine so. So is this like part of your side work in addition to kind of like, taking down the candles, wiping down the tables, wiping down the bottles and putting them away? Do you have to kind of like oil the beams or just kind of like do a little brick check or what?
We haven't made it a part of our official side work, but everybody that works here really seems to respect the history, and, just the overall vibe of the place. You always got to be respectful to the place that you work in, this kind of place in particular.
I'm still trying to kind of like get my bearings on this city. I'm still kind of trying to like figure it out. Like I like what I've seen so far, but what would you say is kind of like the cocktail culture of Savannah? How would you sort of define it in a few words?
Ooh. It's hard to define in just a few words because it really is such a variety pack because you have your craft cocktails, but you've got your dive bars too. Abe's on Lincoln is one of the oldest bars in Georgia. I think they have the oldest liquor license in Savannah, and it's literally like the bottom of a house is a beer and shot type place. You can go there, or you can come here. You also have Pinky Masters. That's where Jimmy Carter announced his bid for presidency. The story
No
goes,
shit, really?
yeah, no, the story goes that he was in there drinking and then just climbed up on the bar and was like, "I'm running for president." Now, like
He got a few beers in him, then he was like, "Fuck it, I'm doing it."
yeah, I guess. I mean, so local legend goes, but that's the story that we're sticking to at this point.
Yeah, so I've the vibe that I've gotten, I feel like I can break it down into two camps. You've got sort of like the super craft cocktail nerd camp, and then there's what I sort of call like the Bourbon Street camp, like your bachelorette
Oh,
parties.
yeah.
People who are here just to like have a good time,
Absolutely. But what's great about Savannah is that it provides you with the scene that all these people can mix together and just have a great time together. The nerds can be with the jock, like because everybody just has like the love of the spirits, as you could say. They come here to participate in the spirits, which, like we said, was a age-old American tradition. So
I love it. Well, can I try one of your old fashions?
Of course.
So I know that one of the most annoying things in the world is to have to describe something as you're doing it, but kind of like just sort of walk me through a little bit what you got going on over here, this sort of smoking process you're doing for this old fashioned.
I'm gonna put it up here and I'm gonna let you see.
Oh man. Oh geez. By the way, it is 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's a little bit too early for me to be making decisions this important, but I'm going to try. So what do we got? Thank you. I appreciate your faith in me.
3 different types of wood chips ready.
All right.
We can do hickory and cherry. We can do pecan and cherry.
Ooh.
Or you can do beech and pear.
I'm feeling a little sweeter today. I'm going to go with this middle option here, the pecan and cherry.
That's the one that we use for our old fashions most often.
Ah, beautiful. Well, I imagine it gets called a lot because I just kind of, pecan. The number one thing I think of in this state is peaches and then pecans immediately after that. Also, pecans or pecans?
I say pecan, but I've been known to slip up and say pecans too. I do both. They really decide depends on the day. Because like I said, we get a variety pack down here. So.
Pecan just kind of feels Yankified, you know? It's like pecan feels a little bit more like salt of the earth, doesn't it?
I have too many Yankee friends.
I don't know. I'm from Virginia. I've been living in New York for 10 years. I don't know. I feel like I have dual citizenship between the two, so I can switch it. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, come on in. The water's fine. Precisely.
I already told you already, I'm a little bougie. So I like to put a design on the ice cube, right? So I'm gonna let him sit while I grab my buddy Jorge.
All right.
If you guys can see him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, I loaded him up a while, the ice cube is over here checking to give you a nice design.
I feel like I should be doing like the Vanna White thing. I'm just like, here's the ice cube right here, over here.
So then we're gonna drop this bad boy in there. And now Jorge eats the thing. And I told you we do the double smoke.
Oh yeah.
This is ready to feel like a real gangster.
Thanks, Jorge. So is Jorge the only one, or is there like a whole family of them back there?
We have a whole family. We even have a graveyard.
Oh, what? Oh yeah, I can see him up there. Look at him.
Those are our fallen soldiers.
The haunted spirits, they're never far.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Our main resident ghost name is Gregory, which is kind of funny because
is there a story behind Gregory?
Yeah, Gregory was a warehouse worker that died in the right around 1860. He got drowned outside, and then they took him in there and they strung his body up by the beam, and then they said that he hung himself. So the paper said,
oh damn, yeah, I could see why he'd be pissed.
Yeah, so the paper said that he hung himself, which we had an investigation from the Savannah Paranormal Society, and they're the ones that concluded that he in fact did not hang himself, he was drowned. And then was brought in to our lovely establishment where he's remained for the past 200 years.
Okay, you ever seen him?
So no, I've seen some weird stuff though.
Okay.
I've seen enough weird stuff that I'm like, I'm not gonna bother with it. I let him do his thing. He lets me do my thing.
I feel like there must be just some nutso ghosts in this place. Like the given how old it is, the amount of people that must be haunting this, you really probably get a nice wide variety there.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones is actually upstairs in the hotel. So they left out like the EVP box, of course, and so they kept catching the voice of the woman.
Oh, okay.
And she keeps complaining about like, this Irish man stole my land. He stole my land, which, at the time we thought was nonsense because, the likelihood of a woman ever owning property in this area is fairly slim. However, upon further investigation, there was a lady that did own the property for a very brief period of time. It got repossessed by the bank, and then it was bought by who? An Irish.
Interesting. Okay.
Which, I thought it was wild because I would never know that before.
I'm going to say, I think the bank is really at fault there. I think that, I can say this because I'm a little bit Irish. There's a lot that you can put on us, but that seems to me like a bank problem.
I mean, well, you're amongst good company.
Yeah, that's true.
We have a large population of you guys.
Yeah. Plus it's also like, it's also just really fun to dump on big banks whenever you get a chance, right?
Of course. We use 1792 small batch because we think that it just blends very nicely.
Ooh, damn. All right.
Yeah. We go ahead and give it a little pre-stir before the ice. Make sure the sugar is all nice and dissolved for you.
So one thing I kind of like about this is it is, like you were saying earlier, it's a process. You kind of feel like you're like a part of something watching it all come together like this.
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely a process. Jorge does good work.
Oh yeah, no, I can see him. He's working hard.
Yeah.
Is he getting a raise anytime soon?
But you have to go a little bit higher up.
I just work here, man.
I'm but a purveyor of goods, my friend.
All right, so what do we got? It looks like we got some pebble ice there. What do we got going on at this stage of the process?
So I know that if you like read recipes, of course, they call for like a splash of water. I don't like to do that. I like to use the ice method where you like stir it around a little bit, where you get like a little bit of water, but not enough to actually like change the taste.
Okay. Yeah, and I saw we had some a couple different types of bitters going in there too.
Oh yeah, no, you're getting the spiced cherry and the peach.
All right, so we got the smoke coming released out there. That's actually really, I'd never seen that process before where the, liquid actually replaces the smoke. You can see it kind of rising up. Talk about things that look haunted.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're a big part of the ambiance. Yeah, he's a good time. And then of course we're gonna Give you a little thin.
All right.
Bring out the oils for you. Express them. Stick them down in there. Grab a really nice cherry out here. You're my favorite kind. I get in trouble for eating these all the time. Actually, it's kind of hilarious.
What are those and martini olives for, if not just like a little snack for everybody behind the bar? Yeah. I had a drink I designed once that never really sold super well, but it was garnished with candied ginger. And I was always like, how come we sold like 3 of these last month and yet I'm buying more candied ginger again? And then I saw one of my servers kind of like reaching in when they thought my back was turned. I was like, aha, like that's where it's all going. I guess it makes sense. It's just part of family meal, you know?
I was definitely caught in the act. So once this head goes up, which it just did, then we get the.
Oh man, look at that.
Yeah, he's sexy.
That looks just like a haunted bog at 1 o'clock in the morning when you're out there summoning some spirits or something. Well, cheers to you, Brittany. Cheers to Jorge, and cheers to the space. That's a really fucking good old fashioned. That is really nice. And yeah, like you said, like I don't normally feel like smoking does a lot beyond just kind of like giving it a show, but you do get that it's a barbecue thing. It's acrid is the wrong word because acrid is a bad word, and this tastes really, really good.
I kind of like a little smoked piggy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a sharpness to it. There's like a barbecue kind of like when you get just like a little bit too close to a campfire and it kind of is like, no, stay away. Like it has that like bite to it, you know?
Enjoy. I'm glad that you like it.
Cheers. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you to all of you for tuning in. Thank you very much to Brittany over here for showing us this lovely bar. And until next time, cheers, everybody.
So you don't charm the devil with your rock and roll, Lord knows that